Another six fit on behalf of Mexico. Why I gave Mexico credit on those vids. I was. I mean, I was like I told you. I was inspired from New York. Basically, I moved to California, and in my neighborhood, it reminds me of my old neighborhood in Queens, and I was inspired from Mexico, from New York. Because in New York, Mexico, and Guatemala, Peru, Honduras, all of us. I mean, we're all working. And we have Colombia. We have, like I mentioned, we have people from Italy. We have Jewish communities, and we all working. And we all own, or we own. You know what I mean? We're all working in New York. I mean, we're all working together. We're on the trains. We're on the buses together. I mean, we're all. I mean, come on. I mean, it's all we know. So in New York, like we're all together. So I was inspired from Mexico. I have to be honest with you guys because I was pondering over this. Like these videos, a little bit. My knowledge is coming out, but yeah, you have to really dig in further. Like why I'm thinking like this. Okay, so now I'm inspired from Mexico. Working, they have. I was attracted them of La Familia. They have family codes and stuff because like they believe in like my keychain says, family is everything. They believe in these things. So I was, I'm all about trust. Family. I'm all about family, trust, honor, business. I believe in these things. You have to, you know what I mean. This, I'm attracted to these things. So I'm not saying Mexico is the only one that obeys these laws and rules, but they have this. They media gave them this image. You can't lie about that. La Familia, a lot. I'm not just saying only Mexico obeys these rules, but I was attracted to Mexico. I'm not gonna lie to you. Family is everything. What is that man on fire? The guy chose his brother and his son over the money. That's. I mean, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. And his ex, he's like, he made a little joke about his ex. Like because they're divorced, blah blah blah. He made a little joke. So I was attracted to that. And I was attracted about the image the media gave him, La Familia. I know a lot of everybody has, but Mexico, I mean, they have the image of La Familia, and then in New York, everybody's. I mean, they're like, I mean, they got it. You know what I mean? I mean, I was just inspired by them. So when I came to California, a certain location reminded me of New York. So I was thinking about Mexico again. Because it came from New York. You know what I mean? And the image the media gave them. That's why Mexico inspired me. That's all. And the spot, it reminded me of New York. Do they get the credit? No. But they reminded me of New York. That's the only credit they get. So basically, it all came from New York and the media and the image the media gave them. But we can't judge the people of any country. If we don't if they don't fit the category, or if they're not what you want them to be or expect them to be, you don't judge the country. So I have nothing against Puerto Rico, Nicaragua, Italy, Colombia, any country that you name, Dominican Republic, Trinidad, Guyana. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean, you can't judge the country if there's people that represent them or a couple of bad apples or people that represent them that you might not like. Okay. So when I pondered over these videos, and maybe I'm a little bit sober now as well. I was a little bit high, but marijuana doesn't affect me like that. I can still think, but I'm thinking even in marijuana or when I'm sober, I like to think deeper. I'm keeping pondering because I want to get the answers myself. Why I'm so inspired, and that's how it happened. That's when I came. That's when I came. I came from New York. A place in one spot in California reminded me of New York, and then I started thinking about Mexico's image. I said, family is everything. I started thinking about Mexico, and I started thinking, wow, they have they have all these images, and the media gave them that, and then so I started thinking, I started thinking about family and stuff, and I started thinking like this, and and um that's how it started, and so I started thinking about New York, Mexico's image. So I mean, I did it for that. I'm not saying no other country has this image, but it just happened to be destined to go to Mexico. I'm not saying Puerto Rico doesn't have this image. I'm not saying Africa doesn't have this image. I'm not saying Colombia, Italy, Israel, or Trinidad or Ghana doesn't have these images. But it just happened to be destined for my heart to be attached to Mexico. I don't know why. I'm from New York, and I study them. I go to the restaurants. I see how. I see how they work. You know what I mean? I respect them a lot. You know, and they got a big name. You know, I mean, look at them in soccer. They're like almost number one in soccer. And they're boxing, like they're almost number one in boxing. I mean, they have a big name. You know what I mean? And they freaking what else they have? They got a name in soccer. They got a name in boxing. They I mean, come on. They have Telemundo, to my knowledge. They have Univision. They're huge. Mexico's huge. Their population in California is huge. Their population, go check New York. Whoa, their population in New York is big as well. So this is, I mean, it's you got to think about that. And their hard work and what the media gave them, is what they gave them. They gave them this image, To me, they gave them this image, You know what I mean? And what I know, from what I hear and what I know, they gave them this image. And I'm not saying that I can't go to no other country or to my heart to be at that, because like I told you, my heart is attached to everybody. I'm not saying that you can't find this nowhere else, but I mean, I'm just giving my personal life why this happened. So I'm thinking about New York. I'm thinking about the family codes, and I know a lot. I mean, you can find it in any culture, but I was just thinking about them because I'm over here in California. One place reminded me of New York, and then you know what I mean. I was inspired again by Mexico because I know Mexico, New York. And I was inspired by them, and then I'm thinking about the media, the image the media gave them. They have a big image, and then they inspired me, and I started thinking about Mexico and stuff, and when I think about it, to tell you the truth, when I started going to Ross and stuff, it wasn't even all about that. When I started my Ross empire, when I started putting the Ross thing together, Mexico really had nothing to do with that. That was with when I saw Ross, and I started thinking about this image of Ross, and I started thinking of this business. Ross actually Mexico did have something to do with it, but I was thinking about Rick Ross from Miami. When I saw Ross, I said, "This is a perfect venture for him. We could hit the whole world." But actually, Mexico did help. And Mexico did help with the Ross. I thought about Mexico because and Puerto Rico helped as well. I was thinking of Mexico and Puerto Rico because these two countries, I studied them. I told you, they're underpoverished, and I was thinking a Ross world in Mexico and in Puerto Rico will help them a great deal. Now all the rest of the world will hopefully receive benefit by this. But it comes from Puerto Rico and Mexico, the Ross world. And the Agua world, the water world that I created, I think when I created the water empire, I think the first people I gave it to, I'm not going to tell you a lie, if I remember properly, I gave it to NOI, the Nation of Islam. I think I gave it to the Minister Louis Farrakhan. I gave I gave the water business to them first. Then we thought about Mexico. Then we thought about Puerto Rico. Then we thought about the world and all our stars and all our elites. And we thought about every common worker, common businessman, common businesswoman. But to my knowledge, I gave it to NOI first. I just remember right now quite clearly. I gave it to NOI first. Remember, I learned that in New York. I gave it to NOI, that business, and I gave that to them. So now my mind is getting refreshed and cleared of how these are not little ventures, they're big ventures, and just two visions that I have, which Mexico helped, and yes, they helped, and Ross, but the Ross Empire, when I think about it, Rick Ross, I came from Rick Ross, but also Mexico helped because then we started thinking about Mexico, and then actually Puerto Rico as well. So Mexico and Puerto Rico helped with that, and the water venture goes to NOI. So I just want to refresh all my vids, and I'll try to read my vids again, but I guess maybe I'll leave those vids because as human beings, if you're gonna get to know me, you're gonna know that we sometimes our memories have to be refreshed sometimes, and sometimes we have to be corrected. And then I thought about this. I mean, those videos, those other Mexico videos I put it's all good and well. I try to explain it. I explained it how it happened. I explained myself and I explained how things happen. But now it's a little bit more clear, And yes, they did help. And yes, they did help. And it came from New York, and the inspirations came from New York and what the media gave them.